Hello, English learners. Welcome back to the Jack and Emma English podcast. I'm Emma.
And I'm Jack.
And we are just so incredibly happy to have you sitting here with us today. Grab a cup of coffee or tea or whatever makes you feel comfortable. Because today, we are talking about a topic that literally makes my hands sweat just thinking about it.
Oh yes, it makes my hands sweat, my heart beats faster, and my brain completely shut down. We are talking about the absolute hardest part of learning any new language.
Now, a lot of people might think the hardest part is the grammar, or maybe the pronunciation, but it is not. The hardest part of speaking English is surviving the awkward silence. We are talking about small talk.
Small talk. The absolute nightmare. You know, Emma, I have a story about this. A deeply, deeply embarrassing story that still keeps me awake at night sometimes.
Oh, I love your embarrassing stories. Please, share it with the class.
Okay, so a few years ago, I was working at this big corporate office, and I was doing great. I knew all the vocabulary for my job. I could give a 1-hour presentation about marketing data in my second language, no problem. I felt like a genius.
Okay, so you were confident. You had the professional English locked down.
Exactly. But then, one Tuesday morning, I walked into the elevator on the ground floor, and standing right there, completely alone, was the CEO of the entire company.
Oh no, the boss. The big boss.
The big boss. The doors closed. It was just the two of us. We had to go up to the 25th floor. That is about 60 seconds of pure, trapped elevator time.
60 seconds feels like 10 years when you are in an elevator with the CEO. What happened?
My brain completely blacked out. I realized that I knew how to talk about marketing, but I had absolutely no idea how to just be a normal human being. The silence was so heavy. He looked at me, smiled, and said, "Morning, Jack. How is your Tuesday going?"
A very normal, friendly question.
Right. And do you know what I said? I panicked. I looked him dead in the eye and said, "The building is very tall today."
The building is very tall today? Jack, what does that even mean?
I do not know. My brain just picked random words and threw them out of my mouth. The CEO just stared at me, nodded slowly, and said, "Yes, Jack, yes, it is." And then we stood in agonizing silence for the next 50 seconds. I wanted to disappear into the floor.
Oh, Jack, that is the perfect example of the small talk nightmare. And to everyone listening right now, if you have ever had a moment like that at the coffee machine or waiting for a Zoom meeting to start, you are absolutely not alone.
No, you are not. Because, well, small talk is completely unscripted, and that is terrifying.
Exactly. Think about how we learn English in school. We learn from textbooks. We learn how to debate global warming. We learn how to order a coffee. And we learn how to describe our daily routines. But those are all scripts.
Right. You memorize the script. "I would like a coffee, please." "Here is your coffee." "Thank you." The end.
But small talk does not have a script. It is the wild west of communication. You do not know what the other person is going to say. You do not know if they will talk about the weather, their children, or sports. So your brain goes into panic mode.
It really does, because you feel this massive pressure to be interesting. You think, I have to say something smart or funny or clever, otherwise they will think I am boring or that my English is terrible.
And that right there is the biggest mistake. That is the exact trap that causes the awkward silence. Jack, when you are doing small talk, the goal is not to be interesting. The goal is to be interested.
Wait, do not be interesting, be interested. Okay, that is huge. Break that down for us.
Human beings are naturally very self-centered. We love talking about ourselves. If you can get the other person to start talking about their own life, their own weekend, or their own opinions, they will walk away thinking you are the best conversationalist in the world. And you barely had to speak any English.
Oh, I see. You shift the pressure. Instead of trying to invent a brilliant sentence about how tall the building is, you just throw the ball into their court. You make them do all the heavy lifting.
Yes! You become a master interviewer. But, of course, you cannot just stare at them and ask, "Tell me your secrets." You need a structure. You need a safe, reliable formula to pull out of your pocket whenever the silence gets awkward.
Okay, I am ready for the formula. I need this to survive my next elevator ride.
It is a psychological framework used by salespeople and negotiators all over the world. It is called the Ford technique. F-O-R-D.
The Ford technique, like the car company. Okay, that is easy to remember. What does it stand for?
Each letter stands for a safe, highly effective topic that you can ask anyone about. It stands for family, occupation, recreation, and dreams.
Family, occupation, recreation, dreams. Okay, let us break these down one by one, starting with F. Family.
Family is a great topic because it is universal. But you have to be a little careful here. You do not want to be too personal with a brand new coworker. You do not ask, "Why are you not married yet?"
Oh no, that is a terrible idea. That will make the elevator ride much worse.
Exactly. So, for the family category, we keep it light and safe. You ask questions like, "Do you have any family in the area?" Or, "Are you doing anything with your family for the holidays?" Or, my personal favorite safe question, "Do you have any pets?"
Oh, pets are the ultimate cheat code. People love their dogs and cats more than anything. If you ask someone, "Do you have any dogs?" they will immediately pull out their phone and show you 75 pictures of their golden retriever.
Yes, and while they are showing you the pictures, you just nod, smile, and say, "Oh wow, so cute!" Boom. 2 minutes of awkward silence completely destroyed, and you only had to use 3 words of English.
That is brilliant. Okay, so F is for family and pets. What is O?
O stands for occupation. This means their job. Now, you might think, well, if we are in the elevator at work, I already know their job.
Right, it feels a bit weird to ask my boss, "So, what do you do for a living?"
Yes, do not ask your boss that. But you can ask about their experience at the job. You can ask, "How long have you been with the company?" Or, "What projects are keeping you busy this week?"
Oh, I like that one. What projects are keeping you busy this week? It is an open-ended question. It forces them to give a real answer, not just a yes or no.
Exactly. That is the secret rule of the Ford technique. No closed questions. If you ask, "Are you busy?" they will say, "Yes." And then the silence comes right back. But if you ask, "What is keeping you busy?" they have to explain it to you.
It is like unlocking a door. You give them the key, and they open it for you. Okay, moving on to the R. Recreation.
Recreation just means hobbies, weekends, and fun stuff. This is the absolute safest and most popular category for small talk in Western culture.
Yes, what did you do this weekend? Is the classic Monday morning question. But honestly, Emma, I hate that question. Sometimes I do not do anything on the weekend except sleep and watch TV. So when people ask me, I feel boring.
A lot of people feel that way. So, be a great conversationalist and ask a better question. Instead of asking what they did, ask them for a recommendation.
Oh? How does that work?
People love feeling like experts. So, if you are at the coffee machine, you can say, "Hey, I am looking for a good restaurant to try this weekend. Do you have any favorite places around here?"
Wow, that is genius. Because it is flattering. You are telling them, "I value your taste." And people can talk about food forever.
Forever. They will give you 3 restaurant names, tell you what to order, and warn you about the parking situation. You just sit back and listen. Or you can ask about media. I need a new show to watch. Have you seen anything good on Netflix lately?
Yes, the Netflix question is perfect. It works on the CEO, it works on the intern, it works on everyone. Okay, we have family, occupation, recreation. What is the final letter? D?
D is for dreams. Now, this sounds a little romantic, but in a small talk setting, it just means future plans. It means travel, vacations, or upcoming goals.
Right, because talking about the future is usually very positive. People get excited about vacations.
Exactly. The classic question here is, do you have any trips planned for the summer? Or are you traveling anywhere for the holidays? If they say yes, they will enthusiastically tell you all about their trip to Italy or Hawaii.
And if they say no, you can just pivot back to recreation. You can say, "Oh, taking it easy? Good for you. Any good books you are planning to read?"
Boom! You just perfectly connected two parts of the Ford technique. Jack, if you have this framework in your head, you will never look at your boss and talk about the height of the building ever again.
I feel so much more prepared. F-O-R-D. Family, occupation, recreation, dreams. It is like a shield against the awkward silence.
It is the ultimate shield. And when you master it, you stop dreading the elevator rides. You actually start looking forward to them because you know you have the power to control the conversation just by asking the right questions.
That is incredibly empowering. It takes the focus completely off your own English skills and puts it on human connection.
Exactly. Now, we use some fantastic vocabulary today to talk about this social anxiety. Words like heavy lifting, cheat code, and open-ended.
Yes, it is time for our calm word tour. Let us slow everything down and look closely at the modern conversational vocabulary we just used.
Let us start with a great idiom, heavy lifting.
Heavy lifting. Literally, this means picking up something that weighs a lot. But in conversation, it means doing the hardest, most difficult part of a task. Emma said that asking questions makes the other person do all the heavy lifting in the conversation.
Yes, it means they are doing all the hard work of talking while you just relax. For example, you could say, I did all the research, so my partner is doing the heavy lifting for the presentation.
Or, do not do all the heavy lifting in the relationship. Make sure it is balanced. Repeat after me. Heavy lifting.
Heavy lifting. Okay, next up, we have a very modern, fun phrase. Cheat code.
Cheat code. This comes from video games. It is a secret password you type in to easily win the game or skip a hard level. In real life, it means a brilliant shortcut that makes a difficult situation incredibly easy.
Exactly. We said that asking people about their pets is a conversational cheat code. For example, you could say, using the Ford technique is basically a cheat code for small talk.
Or, waking up at 5 in the morning is his cheat code for getting more work done. Repeat after me. Cheat code.
Cheat code. And our final phrase for today is an adjective, open-ended.
Open-ended. An open-ended question is a question that cannot be answered with a simple yes or no. It forces the person to give a long, detailed explanation.
Yes, this is the secret to avoiding awkward silences. Asking, do you like coffee? Is closed. Asking, what is your favorite coffee shop? Is open-ended.
Right. For example, the teacher asked an open-ended question to start a class discussion.
Or, if you want to know how someone really feels, ask an open-ended question. Repeat after me, open-ended.
Open-ended.
And that brings us to the end of our word tour. Notice how these phrases help you navigate the psychology of talking to people.
They really do. Small talk is not about grammar, it is about human psychology.
And as we wrap up today's massive episode, we just want to leave you with one final comforting thought.
Every single person in that office building, including the CEO, feels a little bit awkward in the elevator. Small talk is uncomfortable for native speakers too.
You are not alone in feeling that pressure. But now, you have the secret weapon. You do not need to be the most interesting person in the room. You just need to be the most interested.
Use the FORD technique. Ask about the golden retrievers. Ask for the restaurant recommendations. Be curious about the people around you, and the fluency will naturally follow.
Thank you so incredibly much for spending your valuable time with us today. If this episode helped you cure your small talk nightmare, please leave a comment, share it with a friend, and keep learning with us.
Keep asking questions, keep practicing, and keep being brave out there. We will see you all next time.
Take care of your English, and take care of yourselves. Bye, everyone!
Bye!